The moment she pointed her manicured finger at my shotguns. I knew this wasn't just a bad day, it was a ticking time bomb. Those are illegal. You're selling weapons of mass destruction to criminals. Her voice. A shrill symphony of entitlement. Sliced through the dusty air of my shop. My heart hammered against my ribs. A frantic drumbeat of disbelief and fury. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a crusade. A self-righteous campaign launched by the very worst kind of person. A Karen. Specifically. A HOA Karen. The name itself sent a shiver down my spine, the kind that signals a coming storm. My old shop. The gunsmith's revenge. Had been a sanctuary. A place where the scent of oiled steel and gunpowder mixed with the quiet reverence for craftsmanship. Now. It was a battleground. Ma'am. These are legally registered firearms. Every sale is documented and goes through a background check. I said. My voice low and strained. She didn't listen. She never listened. Her eyes, narrowed to slits of pure judgment, were already scanning the room. Searching for more evidence. It was then that Officer Miller and Officer Davis walked in. Their faces grim. The smell of ozone and rain from the street outside felt like a cruel joke. A reminder of the peaceful world this woman had just shattered. He's a menace. He's hoarding weapons. He tried to sell one to my son. She shrieked. Her words a barrage of lies. The officers, caught in the middle, looked at me with a weary sort of pity. I felt my blood pressure rise. A slow, hot tide of anger. This was my life's work. My grandfather's legacy. And she was trying to burn it all down. The first blow came not from her, but from the quiet sting of suspicion in the officer's eyes. Sir. We're going to have to ask you to step outside while we check your inventory. Officer Davis said. His voice a monotone of procedure. My hands clenched into fists at my sides. You don't understand. I pleaded. She's fabricating this whole story. The Karen smirked. A venomous flash of satisfaction. Oh. I understand perfectly. You're a criminal. And I'm a good citizen protecting my community. The words felt like a punch to the gut. The world outside my shop blurred into a smear of gray. Was this it? Was this how it ended? My reputation. My business. My life all ruined by one woman's baseless crusade. My breath hitched in my throat. I could feel the defeat creeping in. A cold weight on my shoulders. I was just a gunsmith. A relic from a different era. What hope did I have against a woman with a phone and a victim complex? But then, a subtle shift occurred. It started with a look. A flicker of something in Officer Miller's eyes. A quiet curiosity. You said you train people. Sir? He asked. Almost as an aside. The question was so unexpected. It pulled me out of my despair. Yes. I said. A slow, dawning realization spreading through me. I train people. The Karen scoffed. He trains terrorists. Probably. My gaze locked with Miller's. I train Army Rangers. It's a consulting gig. They use my range and my expertise in close-quarters combat. The air in the room went still. The Karen's smug smile faltered, replaced by a look of stunned disbelief. The officers exchanged a quick, meaningful glance. The tide was turning. The woman's fabricated narrative, once a towering wave threatening to drown me, was now just a whisper against the roar of the truth. A twist of fate. A hidden fact I never thought I'd need to reveal. I had a phone call to make. A single number saved under Colonel. The sound of the phone ringing was the most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. What followed was a slow, agonizing unraveling for the Karen. The Colonel's voice boomed through the speaker. A no-nonsense lecture on my character and expertise. confirming my story and then some. The officer's demeanor shifted completely. The pity in their eyes turned to respect. Then to a quiet anger as they realized the extent of the Karen's lies. They found the receipts. The background check documents. All pristine and in order. They found nothing. The Karen, now pale and sweating, tried to backtrack. To stammer out excuses. I was just concerned for my community. She whimpered. Her voice a shadow of its former volume. Officer Miller just shook his head. Ma'am. You filed a false police report. And you've slandered a civilian who happens to be a highly respected trainer for our armed forces. The sound of the handcuffs clicking shut was the most satisfying thing I'd ever heard. A final punctuation mark on her downfall. Her face, a mask of self-pity and fury, was a sight I'll never forget. She was no longer a crusader. She was just a woman being led away in cuffs. The quiet that settled over the shop after they left was a blessed relief. The dust motes danced in the shafts of sunlight. A silent celebration. The shop was still standing. My reputation intact. I sighed. A long, shaky breath that released all the tension I'd been holding for hours. The justice was sweet. But the cost had been high. It made me wonder. How often do we let ourselves be swayed by the loudest voice? The most confident lie. How many people are accused, slandered, and broken just because they lack the right connections or a dramatic last-minute reveal? This experience was a bitter lesson. But it also reinforced my faith in the truth. In the idea that right will always triumph in the end. Even if it has to fight tooth and nail to be heard. So, was I right to hold my ground? Was the Karen wrong to jump to conclusions? Perhaps the answer lies not in a verdict, but in the conversation we're willing to have.